For a long time, Poland was one of the most coal-dependent nations in Europe, but that era is coming to an end. Today, we are looking at the most ambitious industrial project in Polish history, the construction of the nation's first large-scale nuclear power plant in the Choczewo municipality. In this video, we will break down the rocky history of Polish nuclear energy, dive into the staggering costs of the project, explain the complex financing model involving billions of dollars in international debt, and look at the roadmap for a future that aims to bring the first reactor online by 2036. To understand why this project is such a big deal, we have to look back at the 1980s. Poland's first attempt at a nuclear plant began in 1982 at Lake Żarnowiecki. That project, known as Żarnowiec, reached about 40% completion of its first reactor. However, the 1986 Chernobyl disaster changed everything. Public trust in the Soviet-influenced media collapsed, and an intense anti-nuclear movement combined with the broader democratic aspirations of the Solidarity movement. In 1990, the post-communist government officially abandoned Żarnowiec, citing safety concerns and economic redundancy. It was a strategic move to distance the new democracy from the previous regime's industrial legacy, but it came at a high price. Nearly $2 billion was lost due to the decay and looting of equipment, and the country suffered a massive brain drain of nuclear experts who emigrated. For nearly 3 decades, Poland entered a period of nuclear hibernation. The drive for nuclear energy today is fueled by a simple necessity: energy security. Poland's current energy system is aging, with over 60% of its coal-fired fleet more than 30 years old. Meanwhile, the European Union is tightening carbon standards, making coal-generated electricity increasingly expensive. The government's plan, known as the Energy Policy of Poland until 2040, PEP 2040, aims for a just transition. By building nuclear plants, Poland aims to provide a stable, zero-emission base load of power that complements renewable sources like wind and solar. The Choczewo plant alone is expected to provide electricity for over 12 million households and reduce CO2 emissions by 26 million tons annually. After evaluating 92 potential sites, the government selected the Lubiatowo-Kopalino site in the Choczewo municipality of Pomerania in 2021. This coastal area offers a stable geological profile and easy access to seawater from the Baltic for cooling the reactors. For the technology, Poland chose the American Westinghouse AP1000 reactor. This is considered a Generation 3+ design, known for its passive safety features. Unlike older designs, the AP1000 uses natural forces like gravity and natural convection to cool the reactor core during an emergency, even without external power or operator intervention. The first stage of the project consists of 3 units with a combined capacity of 3.75 gigawatts. This is where the numbers get truly massive. The total cost for the first 3-unit facility is estimated at approximately 192 billion PLN, which is about 47 to 51 billion US dollars. This represents the largest industrial investment in the history of the Republic. So how does the country pay for that? The financing model is split into 30% equity and 70% debt. The Polish state treasury is injecting $16.8 billion directly into the project company, Polskie Elektrownie Jądrowe, PEJ, between 2025 and 2030. The remaining 70% will come from external financing, primarily supported by international export credit agencies. By early 2025, PEJ had received preliminary commitments of about 26.6 billion US dollars from institutions like the Export-Import Bank of the United States, EXIM, the International Development Finance Corporation, DFC, and agencies from France and Canada. Crucially, the European Commission approved the state aid in late 2025. To make the project viable for investors, the government is using a contract for difference, CFD, which is a 40-year revenue stabilization mechanism, where the state pays the operator if market prices for electricity fall too low, but the operator returns funds to the state if prices rise above a certain level. This provides the long-term stability needed for such a massive capital investment. In early 2025 and again in late 2025, the Polish state-owned company Polskie Elektrownie Jądrowe, PEJ, signed amendments to the Engineering Development Agreement, EDA, with Westinghouse and Bechtel. This bridge agreement ensures that work continues while the final massive EPC, Engineering, Procurement, and Construction, contract is finalized. The Polish government has indicated it expects to sign the final EPC contract with the American consortium by the end of the second quarter of 2026. In-depth geological surveys and site preparations such as land leveling and tree clearing are currently underway in Choczewo. The official first nuclear concrete pouring for the first reactor is projected for 2028. In December 2025, the European Commission officially approved Poland's state aid package, approximately 60 billion PLN, which was a critical legal hurdle to keep the American partnership on track. While the American consortium leads the project, they are integrating European technology and Polish labor to strengthen the supply chain. Westinghouse and Bechtel recently selected Arabelle Solutions, formerly GE's steam power business, to provide the massive steam turbines and generators for the plant. In January 2026, PEJ signed a significant loan agreement with the U.S. Export-Import Bank, further cementing U.S. financial backing for the project. We are currently in the middle of a massive geotechnical campaign. This involves 1,000 drillings to a total depth of 15 kilometers to ensure the soil is stable enough for the heavy reactor structures. The current schedule looks like this: 2025 to 2026, finalizing the site-specific design and starting negotiations for the engineering, procurement, and construction (EPC) contract. 2026, earthworks and site leveling are expected to begin to prepare for construction. 2028, the pouring of the first nuclear concrete is targeted for this year. 2036, commercial operation of the first reactor is projected to start, with units 2 and 3 following in 2037 and 2038. Building a nuclear plant isn't just about the reactors, it requires massive infrastructure. To make Choczewo work, Poland is building a new national road connecting to the expressway, 30 kilometers of new railway lines, and a marine offloading facility, MOLF, to bring in oversized reactor components from the sea. Despite high public support, which reached a record 92% in some national polls, there are significant challenges. One of the biggest risks is a shortage of qualified personnel. Poland hasn't had a domestic nuclear industry for decades, so training thousands of specialized workers, from nuclear engineers to certified welders, is a multi-year effort. There is also the risk of cost overruns and delays. Experts warn that a single month of delay during the final stages of construction could cost the state over $112 million in lost revenue and interest payments. Finally, the environmental impact is a point of debate. Environmental organizations have raised concerns about the once-through cooling system. This system takes seawater from the Baltic and returns it at a higher temperature, which some scientists worry could impact local ecosystems or contribute to dead zones on the seafloor. However, the government's environmental decision concluded that these risks can be minimized by placing the discharge pipelines several kilometers offshore at significant depths. Poland is standing at a historical crossroads. The Choczewo nuclear power plant is more than just a power station. It's a statement of energy independence and a fundamental realignment of the nation's energy future away from coal. While the road to 2036 is paved with regulatory, financial, and logistical hurdles, the project is moving from offices to the field. As the first concrete approaches, the lessons learned from the failed Żarnowitz project will be essential to ensure that this time, Poland successfully powers its future with the atom.